Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. We talk comics, movies, TV, pop culture, all the fun stuff that you love. I am your host, Mike Dolce. As always, with Lord of the Radio co-host...
good evening.
Hassan Godwin. And we're joined in studio by Bitcoin expert Tone Vase.
Hey guys, thank you for having me on.
All right. Now, you had told your followers no Bitcoin questions, but I say let's bring the Bitcoin questions on because we could easily translate them into comic book, how much would this character cost and, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they're on and listening.
We got Jersey Jedi that just joined us on Periscope. Welcome, Jersey Jedi. Jersey Jedi is one of our illustrious patrons as well, too, but he missed a very, very entertaining Green Room exercise. The Green Room is our exclusive Google Hangout that we do prior to the show. We got heated in the and howdy, Jack O'Donnell and Gabe Firamasco joining us live on the Facebook feed, and he says Hassan's wrong. That's good. Good. And Jersey Jedi heard a bunch of it as well. So what is the Green Room? The Green Room, again, is an exclusive Google Hangout. We do it before the show. Patrons that pay $5 a month, which is like $1.25 a show, sometimes less, sometimes $1 a show, depending on the number of weeks in a month. And they get to kind of hang with us and talk with us. And we were debating some really, really intense stuff, which is... It always seems to come back to the prequels versus Episode 7. Is Episode 7...
You always bring it back to that.
Well, yeah, I absolutely have to. I absolutely have to.
Yeah.
There's no question.
There's no need to go in there. We could discuss other things. We could discuss 1930s King Kong versus 2005 King Kong.
Sure.
That's a conversation.
Sure, but it obviously would not get the viewers and the amount of people...
See, it's just whoring ourselves out.
Well, that's our entire business model. I mean, we should,
whores. We are whores.
We should try to strive for that. So the reason I bring that up, obviously, is we're going to be talking Star Wars Last Jedi trailer. We're also going to be talking an interesting article I found, describing 15 reasons why Episode 7 is the worst movie ever.
All of which are right.
Oh, God. See, this is the stuff you guys
I have to agree. I haven't seen the article yet.
I'll go through it. I do meticulous preparation. So much meticulous preparation that I wore a Captain America shirt to a Star Wars discussion.
Yeah, that's for the superhero to a space fight.
That's right. That's what I do here. But first... I want to talk to you guys about Reckoning. It's a high-octane, open writing exercise and science fiction comic book adventure from Einar Peterson. Go to einarpeterson.com. Join in an exciting quest to bring an amazing world of Reckoning to life together with writer Einar Peterson and his collaborating graphic artists. The team is striving to bring you a series of intense, nail-biting science fiction comics taking a stab at everything from UFO lore to worldwide conspiracy theories, which is right up Tone Base's alley.
Exactly.
In a gut-wrenching sci-fi setting. The project is being funded through Patreon, and you are encouraged to join up while seats are still available. The address is patreon.com/Einar Peterson. That's EIN, as in Nancy, ARPETERS, as in Sam, E-N. As in Sam Leibowitz, our exciting producer and engineer who is not here tonight. In his stead is Rob K. from the Rob and Callie Show.
Hey, Rob.
What's up, y'all?
And much to Ficleone's... well, actually, no, Ficleone would actually rejoice at this. This is Patrick the Intern's last night at the show. Ficleone was just wondering why we even have
Patrick
interns.
the Intern almost destroyed the show last week.
He did. He disconnected the internet.
Yes.
Right before it went on. So yeah.
Is that why this is his last day?
Yes. Ironically enough, the next week is his last week. It's like the Bill O'Reilly thing. He's going on vacation. That's all.
So I was going to start with some news. But we're going to save it for the end of the show. We're going to do spinning the racks. It's going to be exciting. We're going to save it for spinning the racks, and we're going to dive right into the Jedi talk because I think we got Star Wars in April. First of all, which first point of contention: why did they not release the trailer? I know. Sorry. Go back even further. Why did they have a Star Wars celebration a month before May the 4th? When it's the 4th,
I think it's probably going to be one of those situations where they just couldn't get the venue at exactly the right time, so they just had to compromise.
They're
it's kind of like why you have a birthday on a Friday, even though your birthday is on Tuesday. It's like but you have the party on Friday because no one parties on Tuesday.
Yeah. I still feel that Star Wars could have some sort of pull in some sort of venue, and
that was the most logical thing I could think of. But, obviously it's ridiculous.
See, this is where we actually agree with each other.
maybe if episode 7 was better, they might have.
No.
Yes.
You settle down.
Yes.
Guys. You settle down.
Yes.
We're not there yet. We're going to dissect the trailer.
7 sucks.
We're going to So by now, everyone has seen the trailer, and we're going to get into that and why you guys are obviously wrong.
Throwing up.
But the
get us a bucket.
Give me your first reactions for the trailer. Hassan, we'll start with you, and then we'll move over to Ton.
It's a teaser. And it was kind of teasing.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of information there, which is, I think, part good and part bad.
Sure.
I was, you know what? Let me be honest with you. Even though I'm not a huge fan of The Force Awakens, I was very interested in seeing what happens next. But mostly from a professional level, on a
because this is your job.
Not really, but as a writer, professionally, I was like, let me see how you get yourself out of this,
Sure.
So I'm looking forward to the trailer just to see some imagery. I know this year is going to come out. We're going to see what happens next. We're going to see if it has legs, you know. And so they showed us the trailer, and I was like, all right, it's a bunch of things blowing up.
I felt like, well, I'll tell you what I feel like. Tone, what did you think of the trailer?
I honestly... Nothing. I didn't feel anything. They gave you a bunch of clips completely out of order.
Yeah.
You don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
You have to assume that she finds Luke in the beginning, but you don't know. With trailers, I either like to have an understanding of the movie.
Yeah.
Or have completely really really short scenes, kind of like they did for The Force Awakens, even a 10-second clip. And that's the trailer.
Yeah.
Just one tiny little piece. I think that would have been a better way to go.
Yeah.
Because this is not one of those plots you want to give away, because I don't know how much they can hide and make interesting in the middle.
Yeah. For me, it felt, and we welcome Jason Lohr to the show. Again, you guys can actually join the conversation. We're on Facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. We do this every week, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc. You can call in as well, 877-480-4120. We have a great guest coming on a little later as well, too. Brad SoS has his book that he's got actually has an entire chapter devoted to how Star Wars influenced the millennial generation. So we're looking forward to talking to him about that.
That sounds good.
I definitely, at least just for that chapter. I mean, the rest of it you could just throw
you
out.
can toss it after that.
Sorry, Brad. But to me, it just felt thrown together. It felt like we had this event coming up and we got to give them something. We're going to just throw this together. And that to me is a little like, why even bother? Just why bother? Why bother just throwing something together? There's obviously going to be a huge wait for the Star Wars trailer. There's going to be a lot of build up, and then to kind of just have this little finish, it was like...
Because it's like this marketing thing. Okay, George Lucas did this a long time ago where he actually learned how to parse out marketing. So the part of the genius of George Lucas is he was able to sell 3 movies to us about 20 dozen times before he even did the prequels, right? Because he would keep changing the format and whatever. So the idea always seems to be the Star Wars marketing is give as little as possible, as often as you can. So give very little to nothing, but do it a lot, and keep people interested in it. I'm not upset about Disney for the trailer and for the teaser. It's really not much different than the Force Awakens teaser. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that they pulled some kind of scam or anything like that. I just think it was. I had hoped to have seen it and been like, oh, you know what? I didn't like that first one, but I'm gung ho to see this one.
Sure.
And I didn't see anything that really made me want to go run to see it.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, Valerian, which is another Luc Besson movie, is coming out in July. I'm still more excited about that movie than I am about just about any other. And also Alien, and there's a lot of stuff.
We'll get into that. We got
Avatar, the next Avatar.
I'm just talking about this year.
Right.
This year, I'm excited about a whole bunch of things. I know that Star Wars is going to be out. I know it's probably going to do well. It's at the end of the year. It's going to all these other things are going to have gone by the wayside by the time we get there. But
our favorite podcast host, Bobby Semmelsberger, says there was no big Chewie moment. Well, aside from Tone Base, but it's Bitcoin. We love your podcast. There was no big Chewie we're home moment like the one we had in Force Awakens. Jack O'Donnell, while I'm excited for a new Star Wars or part of the Star Wars universe, I'm in agreement the new trailer really didn't do anything for me. It hit no nostalgia moments. The tingles as he put it.
There was
nothing.
Well, there was, and the funny thing is the imagery. A lot of people are already picking apart the imagery, saying it's going to be like another Empire Strikes Back.
Sure.
Some people are a little upset about that. That it's going to, they're just going to use this to mirror it, and they're going to do like clever redressing. So like instead of it in a winter wasteland, it'll be a desert wasteland.
I'll say two things. Right. The first thing I'll say is, one, I usually complain the trailers give away too much. And it's kind of funny. I'm actually arguing it didn't give me enough.
Well, it's a teaser, though.
It is a teaser. I agree.
Trailer.
I agree. It's a teaser. But second, so we're going to have this big debate. Well, maybe we won't because we're all like kind of we're kind of like we did the debate.
I'll debate with you.
We did the debate in the green room. So you guys got to go on the green room.
Yeah,
Come on.
that's too bad.
Come on, people.
You don't get to debate.
Get with the patreon.com/Secrets of the Sire green room. No, but one of the arguments that I have in favor of Episode 7, which is one of the arguments you have against it, is it was really setting up the new movies. To me, I felt it had to do that. Hang on, we're not going to get into the debate. We're going to hold it. We're going to hold it.
Word.
But if they were to do it again,
no, you're wrong. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, so it's okay in Episode 8 if they redo it.
Let me comment on that. Right, like after the very first Star Wars came out, Episode 4. It definitely set up 2 more movies because you were very, very interested. And the entire prequel series was obviously set up because it was a prequel. After Episode 7, I have no clue what they're setting up. I have no idea what the end game is.
Sure. There were no stakes.
Right, because Rey already beat him once. I mean,
I do agree with
who
that.
are we scared of at this point?
I do agree with that. He was injured, though. We're gonna make that argument as well, too. But I guess my point being is if they do this with Last Jedi, before we get into Episode 7, just if they go again and retread Empire Strikes Back in Episode 8, then I have a big problem at that point. I do.
I honestly don't think they're going to do it like that.
Right.
I think it's going to be. I think there are going to be a lot of similarities that we're going to be able to, just like Episode 2 had some similarities with Episode 5, where they were in an asteroid field and there was like a. There was like kind of a mystery, and everybody had split up. So those were the similarities, but that is the closest similarity that those have.
Right.
So this one might do that, where they have similar setting, similar circumstances.
Yeah, but I don't want that.
It's not.
I don't want that.
Well, that's most likely going to happen.
I don't want that.
In the teaser, they did have the 4-legged. I don't even know what they're called.
The walkers.
The walkers, right?
Supposedly gorilla walkers,
right? So they had those
the first
in
gorilla walkers.
They're going to have those in the next movie. That's right.
Yeah, you can see them
right out of the beginning. And
they were in Rogue One as well too, though.
They were in Rogue One as well.
There
right?
is
the Imperial walkers, but these are going to be different.
Oh,
these are completely.
Okay, all right. Blow my mind. All right. So we talked about The Last Jedi. Obviously, not a lot going on with that. We don't know where it's going to go. I get it. But coming up next, found a very interesting article for all to consume. Episode 7, 15 Reasons Why It's the Worst Film Ever. When we come back.
Why stop at 15?
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Hello, I'm JC.
I'm Joan. And welcome to 21st Century Entrepreneur.
We bring education,
insight,
knowledge,
awareness,
trouble,
craziness, and fun
for you, the entrepreneur who's looking to build your business
and your community. Listen every Friday from noon to 1 Eastern on talkradio.nyc. And you can tweet us at 21st CE Radio or Talk Alternative.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
It's kind of like where, when you give criticism to somebody, you kind of like, you do a compliment sandwich and you kind of say like, your work is really great and it's really exciting and this is really good. And then you kind of go like...
It's called a compliment sandwich.
But this is, that's exactly what it is.
I've been eating those for quite a while.
That's pretty good though, right?
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every week. We talk comics, movies, TV,
Every
pop
week.
culture, good stuff.
Every single week.
The balloon's deflated out of Hassan's balloon.
My balloon is deflated out of a balloon?
Well, it's the best I can come up with. So what happens when we have the heated debates in the green room prior to the show.
Yeah, it's also what happens when the green room is like 300 degrees.
I know.
It's 300 degrees.
We got Tone Vase, Bitcoin expert. So Tone, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do and all that fun stuff.
All right. Well,
do it.
I was working on Wall Street for about 10 years right before the
don't give
financial
us don't
crisis.
give us the prequels. Give us the actual. Give us the good stuff.
Yeah. So I didn't like what happened during the financial crisis and started learning more about money and economics. And I discovered Bitcoin around 2012, 2013. And I saw Bitcoin as this money that isn't controlled by any government. I found that very, very interesting. And I left the Wall Street world in order to participate in this new cryptocurrency world. I am now a content creator like you guys with many podcasts, and I'm also a trader, and I travel the world and I speak at conferences.
Very, very cool. And now you're talking Star Wars with a bunch of us here. So I found this really great article, actually, because much to my belief, my disbelief, I should say, words, podcast host, words.
Is that what you call it?
It always floors me that my co-host has differing opinions on this matter, which I think is awesome because we always like differing opinions. Hey, we got Figlio just joined.
Hey.
But talking about how he loved the prequels but hated Episode 7. But, honestly, it's kind of funny because I guess there's revisionist history. I mean, people are now, longing for the days of Bush in the White House, comparatively speaking.
Politics again.
Oh, you see how that?
No.
But, it's revisionist history. It is
you.
what it is. It is what it is. But I did find this article. So, The Force Awakens, 15 Reasons Why It's the Worst Star Wars Film. And I find it, I don't understand the vitriol against it. I do agree with some of the points I'm going to list.
Mm-hmm.
But again, comparatively speaking, Episode 2 is the worst in my mind, easily. I don't even think there's a comparison.
I disagree.
The problem
completely.
is the rest of the world isn't Dolce. There's going to be So you're the rest of the world. You're the mind that the rest of the world has.
Yeah,
that explains a heck of a lot about where we are today, my friend.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Excellent.
All right. I'm gonna not list all 15 because some of them we don't need to go into, but some I thought were really important. 15, overpowered hero. Rey was a scavenger, abandoned as a kid on a desert planet, left waiting for her mysterious family to return. She proved to be completely self-sufficient until she met the ex-stormtrooper Finn. This began a quest to fight a new empire and find Luke for the Resistance. Oh, Brian Abraham actually chimed in and said Episode 3 was the worst, and Nevin Frederick also thinks Episode 3 is the worst. But we'll get into why.
Who are they? I don't know.
They're loyal. There are loyal fans.
Who cares what they
chime
think?
in. Well, we care because the whoring. Remember
they're
the whoring?
your loyal
remember
fans.
The whoring?
They're obviously not my loyal fans.
Remember the whoring?
We vehemently differ.
14, underwhelming villain.
Wait, we're not going to discuss 15?
Okay,
that was 15.
We can discuss 15.
I agree with it. I would have gone even further on that description, but that's fine.
I think all three of us are actually in agreement that the fact that Rey was able to beat Kylo Ren at the end.
She was able to beat Kylo Ren. She doesn't really screw up. She's not really lost. She's always kind of ahead of everybody in the film, which is fine characteristically. It's not fine for your protagonist, especially if the point is the person is supposed to be kind of lost and then found, which is one of the main hero journeys is I'm this thing and then I'm not. If the hero is ahead of everybody else in the story, then what does the hero need anybody else in the story for?
And I'm not going to disagree with that. I think
say you go through all of them fast, because if we analyze each one by one, we'll never get through them all.
This is only an hour show.
Yeah, I say you just list them all, but to me, just the idea that she knew how to wield the Force better than someone trained by Luke was just ridiculous.
Which is an argument that many people make, and there's validity to the argument too. The one argument I would say counter against that is the moment she supposedly touches the lightsaber is supposed to be some sort of trigger where potentially, and I'm not saying this is the case, and we'll find out more in The Last Jedi, in my mind there was a transference of some ability.
Which is kind of an unusual thing for the entire saga so far. And
it's never been done.
Unexplored, unexplained.
Right.
On everything.
But this is something we kind of argued back in the green room too, is we're talking about, so it always does come back to how can you say that episode 7 is the worst when, in my mind, the prequels are just god-awful. Episode 2 is god-awful specifically. A lot of folks chiming in that, episode 3 is the worst. I don't think that by any stretch, but, hey, everyone's entitled to their opinion. If the prequels lend themselves to being good because episode 4, 5, and 6 came out, why is it that episode 7 is so slammed because it relies on episode 4, 5, and 6?
Because it doesn't rely on those at all.
But a lot of the argument for episode 7 being bad is the fact that it's a retread of episode 4, right? It's basically episode 4's plot.
That was just that was kind of stupid in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Like they didn't have to rework.
You're stupid.
Yeah, they didn't have to
get fired up, people. Come on.
They didn't have to rework the plot. I mean, to me, the characters were the problem, not the fact that they reworked the plot. They could have had a whole new plot, but if they have like the guy very wimpy like a girl, and the girl is so strong she can't do anything wrong and knows everything, that's a problem no matter if they redid episode 4 or not.
Okay. Well, you know what this conversation needs? Needs more guests.
Commercial break.
Needs more guests. When we come back, Brad SoS is going to join us, and he's going to talk about how Star Wars influenced a millennial generation. We really do need like an hour and a half when we come back.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
If you have an interest in marijuana, you want to know about marijuana, law, policy, and culture, then feel free to join me, Joseph A. Bondi, every Friday at 11 o'clock in the morning on my show In the Know 420 on TalkingAlternative.com.
Legalize the herb to continue to resist the passage of this necessary legislation.
Hi, this is Rob Kay.
And I'm Callie Alpert.
And we're hosts of The Rob and Callie Show. Are you looking for a show that talks about real stuff like life, love, the pursuit of being yourself?
Then you have come to the right place, because we cover topics ranging from chivalry to gratitude to your relationship with money and everything in between.
So listen to us on The Rob and Callie Show, Tuesdays, 8 to 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on talkradio.nyc.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
Kai, actually, she has been studying.
Were you giving her the questions ahead of time?
No.
Is that what was happening?
No, this is not CNN and Hillary. We're going to keep it non-political now, because now that I insulted our audience.
Now any Hillary supporters, they're taking their cell phones and tossing it to the ground right now.
Well, the joke's on them if they did that.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every week. We talk comics, movies, TV, Oh, hey, how about that? All right, we got tons of sound coming in. We do this every week. We talk comics, movies, TV, pop culture. 15 reasons why The Force Awakens is the worst Star Wars movie? ? We welcome Brad SoS. Brad, how's it going, buddy?
Excellent. Mike, thank you. Great to be on. And Tone, I love what you're doing, man. So I'm honored to be on the show.
Oh, no, thank you.
That's good to...
I'm sitting in the green room on the edge of my seat as you're talking about The Force Awakens. And I'm biting my lip. But basically what it is, I agree with you. The DNA was transferred to Rey, and I think what it really was about was this. This movie was trying to reawaken Star Wars for millennial generation, Generation Z. It was really stating loud and clear, we don't need a master to show us everything.
Oh,
we need an older master to basically guide us. That's all we need.
That's an interesting point of view,
They come
actually.
with a new set of skills, and I think that's what they were trying to say in this new movie.
That's an interesting point of view, and that's actually a good segue. Tony, you had a comment?
No, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, I agree that's what they did. I don't agree with them doing it.
I can like it, but I don't have to like it.
Don't you think if that was the point, then it should have been more coherently fleshed out? Or it should have had parallel points that kind of complemented the main idea, is that, you know, we these old tropes are no longer viable and we need a new way of going about how to live. Mm-hmm. Don't you think that if that were the case, then there would be certain other themes that would go on in the story that would also mesh with that, so that we could all coherently understand that was the point? Instead of trying to mystically figure out exactly why something was able to happen versus all the other times in the 6 other movies that came before it where that never happened.
Well, let's put it this way.
Or no.
When Star Wars first came out, and we didn't call it A New Hope, it was Star Wars, I was 14. And I couldn't wait to see Empire Strikes Back when it came out. And when it came out and I watched it, I was so disappointed because Rebels lost, they're running away, all these things. So you're sitting on the edge of your seat, there's all this mystery, you can't wait to see it, and then you're disappointed, and then you have to wait for Return of the Jedi. So I'm in college by the time Return of the Jedi comes out. I've invested over 7 years of my life in this, and I was not disappointed. But sitting on the edge of your seat from one movie to the next, they all have to connect the dots in some way, shape, or form, and create this sense of mystery and anticipation in the storytelling. And there's something else that I'm going to throw out here. Star Wars really brought about some very strong women characters, and that, I think, was setting the tone for something else as well.
Setting the tone for what?
Maybe, I mean, we'll have to see the next 2, but I think it's maybe that, this has been a trend since Star Wars first came out. They showed strong women characters that didn't need to be saved by men. They were warrior princesses. And so I think, maybe this is, I'm not trying to get into politics or anything like this, but I think
we do it all the time.
Really trying to say, as you hearken to, is this going to set a different tone if a woman is a Jedi Master? Is this going to set a different tone for the future of war and things like this and bring peace to the galaxy? Who knows?
We're not really discussing that because I'm not really talking about whether she's a woman or not, because it's fine that she's a woman. There's no issue with it. Just because she's a woman doesn't necessarily mean that she doesn't have to adhere to certain rules of storytelling, in which case that allows us to translate or to interpret her thoughts and feelings and her actions and identify them. Identify with them. So I understand what you're saying. I also saw all for the first 3 movies when they first came out. I am that old, and I understand the waiting, but I also came out of Empire Strikes Back loving it.
Don't tell
not deciding, oh, gee, I guess I got to wait till the next movie to decide whether I like them or not.
Don't tell our fans you're old. You're going to kill our demographic. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be terrible. No, so, I think that's really great. And, Brad, you actually kind of segue into what you talked about in your book, too, how Star Wars shaped a millennial generation. Can you give us a little insight into that? Because I'm really curious about that.
And I want to say this before we move on. Looking back now, Empire Strikes Back is my favorite.
Right. Well, it's everyone's favorite, I think, right?
It's becoming a Jedi. But if you go back to 1977, the top 3 blockbuster films were Star Wars, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and Smokey and the Bandit. Now, that doesn't look like anything major, but if you look at the films that we watched before 1977, science fiction wasn't really given the respect it was due. It was very much a niche category. As a matter of fact, I was a big Star Trek fan, and I kind of had to hide that. And what happened is, from 1977 on, if you look at the top blockbusters we've had in the last 40 years, the top 7 or 8 of them have all been science fiction driven or fantasy driven. And what is the story in each and every one of these? It's a young person who is abused as a child or abandoned, who finds out that they can get some secret training, use technology or wizardry to battle evil adults. This is the theme for all of these. And from that moment on, from 1977 on, everything shifted into fantasy, but this is the most important part of this. Most of the devices that were in Star Wars, we are starting to use today. We have the pads, we have the Wi-Fi connection, we have the holograms, and we have all these things. But when Star Wars came out, I was using a rotary dial phone in my house.
This is for all
exactly.
the kids listening.
I broke up with a girl once because she had too many zeros in her telephone number. It's just like, I can't dial your phone. Just it's cool. But and nobody gave science fiction respect. I mean, even when Star Trek came out,
Sure.
It got a standing ovation when they first showed it. But Star Wars changed movies at such a level. If you look, you can find all the different movie posters all over the world where they had to integrate the Star Wars story into their culture. Like in Russia, they made it like a space opera, and they showed Darth Vader as the lead character, whereas in Japan, C-3PO was like in a ninja pose. You can look this up online. But
That's awesome.
Star Wars, and Dr. Michio Keiko said this, Star Wars initiated a paradigm shift. And when you're a certain age, and I'm not going to blow your demographic here, but when you're a certain age, we've been dying for these movies. Anybody who saw Star Wars, after that, everything changed. We had hope. We wanted things to be better. We wanted to know that we could take on, whatever big fight there was and do it. And this thing called the Force was universal. So, I'm going to say it. I'm a baby boomer, and I'm dying to see Iron Man, Thor, the Avengers. I've been dying to see all these things finally made for the big screen. So the last 20, 25 years has just been awesome.
No, I absolutely agree with that, too. I mean, I think there's definitely certain aspects to it as well, too. Tone, you wanted to say something.
Well, no, I don't want to bring up an earlier point.
No, bring up an earlier point. We have no
structure
here.
Yeah, when you guys were talking about women, and no, it's fine. I mean, even in the originals, Leia was a strong female character.
Absolutely.
In the prequels, they had women Jedi. I actually would have liked to see them more. They didn't really. There were a couple of really interesting female Jedi that they cut out of the movie. They had like some of the deleted scenes, even had some. So that would have been more to see. But the thing is, what I didn't like is not only. That's fine. You can have strong females, but before she knows how to use the Force, she's like beating up two guys bigger than her, and that's just not realistic. I'm sorry, and that really bothered me from like the opening scenes in the movie.
We have no female viewers, so we're okay. I mean, we're not losing.
It's like,
we don't lose a demographic at all. So we're in good shape.
It's like just like my Bitcoin podcast. I'm right at home.
Well, I can tell you this: I'm a martial artist, and if you have a young person who is trained against two adults who are not trained, that could easily happen. My nephew was a black belt at 16, and I wouldn't mess with him.
But there's no indication that she was trained. That's the point. If there was an
but we have to
indication that
kind
she
of
was,
suspend that reality and say, well, you're bringing up a great point.
Wait. We got to suspend that reality. I don't understand. I did the logic that you guys go to explain why you like something when someone is telling you something linearly does not work and it doesn't. Then always the more creative minds go, well, you got to suspend your disbelief. You got to
use your imagination.
You got to rub crystal ball. You got to eat a little more curry, and you got to be a little more happy.
Say he's creative.
I'm not. I'm just saying. So that's
no offense.
The argument is never. The argument never levels out. Like nobody ever levels with them on a purpose. Like we needed to do this because we need to wash away the taste of the prequels. Right. Okay. Subjectively, yes. Let's say you're absolutely right, and those movies were terrible. That doesn't make this movie a good movie.
I'm going to clip that for a bit.
I don't care. Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. It doesn't make that movie a good movie. It doesn't make just like I made you pizza tonight because last night we had cake for dinner. That doesn't mean the pizza dinner
dare
is a
say
healthy
anything
dinner.
bad about pizza.
Even bad pizza is good.
So, Brett, tell the audience about what you do. I know you write a lot of books, and you're an esteemed author. So we want to learn a little bit more about you.
I prepare the next generation for leadership in these companies, cross-generational leadership management, and I teach gamification, a way of managing people using gaming theory, so that all the generations work together. I know that a lot of companies, the boomers are tearing their hair out, Gen X is frustrated, and millennials are walking in and going, I don't know if I want to be here much longer. I help them integrate and get everybody engaged and excited and fun. So that's my claim to fame.
Very cool.
Excellent. And the other question I had, so we actually met at a networking event at some point. You had this really interesting take on how video games shape millennials as well, too. And I don't know if you have time to share that real quick.
Absolutely. That was actually part of my TED talk. I did a TED talk in Tarrytown. And what happened is 1977 didn't just have Star Wars come into it. Child-centric parenting came into the forefront, but also video games came into the household. As you know, Atari and Magnavox brought those first nascent video games into the home, and they really weren't that big of a deal. We had Pong. Please don't judge me.
Hey, Pong was good, man. That's quality.
That was. But what happened is by 1984, when Sega and Nintendo came into the forefront, those games became more robust, multi-level, multiplayer, and also the home computer came into the house. The Apple computer came into the home. So what happened is a new generation was exposed to a new kind of computer. Video games are a computer, and they're visually assisted, and it's rich storytelling, but what it does is it changes the brain, and it changes the way people behave and do certain things, and this has been proven. You can Google this online. It's an article called, entitled, "Is Google Making Us Stupid?"
Oh, yeah.
Basically, and I'm going to paraphrase this, but they interviewed many people, and they cited Daniel Bell, sociologist, and he said, whenever we begin to use machines that extend our mental rather than our physical capacities, we begin to take on the actual the capacities of these technologies. In other words, the technology does change the way we behave and the way we operate. And we pretty much have proven that, because if you look at the way that you learn in a video game, it basically is about you don't read the rules, instead you jump in and you push against, and you test the rules by banging yourself against the inside of the game. Leadership is rotational. You always have a leveling up kind of thing that takes place. Speed is paramount to learning, and the more mistakes you make, the more you learn. And the other part of this that always blows everybody's minds is once you've stormed the castle, killed the trolls, and you've saved the princess, discard, don't be attached to what you just learned, because the rules are going to change at the next level.
Yeah.
So you may have to discard 90% of what you just learned. This usually, when I put the list up, makes a lot of people go, whoa, that's how millennials act. Exactly. Our computers have influenced us, including boomers as well, in a way that the scientists have actually started to do scans, and they realize brains from people who've been exposed to video games most of their life are a little bit different than, let's say, a baby boomer's brain.
So can you answer this question? Why is Nintendo discontinuing the Mini NES Classic? That thing was just awesome.
I believe that's a business decision.
It's sold out. It makes no sense.
It is hysterical. You just... you never know why they're making these decisions.
Oh, man. Well, so, Brad, tell the audience out there where they can find you, where they can get you online, and
sure,
all that fun stuff.
Go to liquidleadership.com. You can find me there. That's my home, and that's the title of my book, Liquid Leadership, From Woodstock to Wikipedia. You can also send me an email at brad@liquidleadership.com, and I believe I've also promoted the show a little bit tonight, so you can go on Twitter and see me there. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Brad.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you, Brad.
When we
Thanks,
come
everybody.
back, we'll try to lighten the mood a little bit, and we'll talk about the new casting decision that was just wrapped up for Deadpool 2.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you into comics, movies, and pop culture at large? What about music and TV? Then you're in for a treat. This is Michael Dolce, your host on TalkingAlternative.com. I've been professionally writing comic books, screenplays, and music articles for almost 15 years. Catch my show, Secrets of the Sire, at its new primetime slot, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and get the inside scoop on the pop culture universe you love to talk about. For more info, go to secretsofthesire.com.
TalkingAlternative.com.
Let's talk about Thor, actually. We can skip ahead here.
I don't want to talk about Thor. Talk about something else.
All right, so let's do hidden messages then. Look at this. Don't talk about racially insensitive. Don't talk about things that have relative meaning.
This was on your dance card, man. You were the one who put the schedule together.
Well, this is what I want to talk about, though.
I think you guys need some on-air coaching. You guys have a problem with completion. You guys have a problem with teamwork.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. There's an echo, which is kind of cool. Just makes it all the more real. Before we go, Secrets of the Sire is brought to you by all of our beloved patrons. We have dedicated fans Omar Morales, Einar Peterson, Matt Byer, John Hoff III, Ashley Haikai, our program director Stephanie Dolce, our executive producer Steve Hovecki and Brian Phillips, and as always, our Uber fan Christina Dolce. You want your name shouted on the interwebs, go to michaeldolce.com or patreon.com/Secrets of the Sire. And check out our Patreon page. You could get in on the green room, although I think with the amount of debate that went on, first of all, we could honestly debate. It's really funny, too, because one thing I've noticed, too, we are a lighthearted show. And there is just it's like death in here right now. There's just Hassan is just going to break a wall when he gets home. He's going to do some sort of he is going to Kylo Ren the shit out of something when he gets home. There's no question. Have his little temper tantrum. And
I'm not even mad. I don't even understand what... I'm just not going to discuss things if people are going to discuss on top of it. That's all. You know, we went over it. We didn't even really go into The Force Awakens and the 15 reasons why that movie sucked, which is,
we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going
which
through
is, I wanted to talk about that. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about the movie sucking. But, everybody else wants to talk, promote your stuff, be on the show, be part of this. I don't want to talk about any of that.
You're we don't want our guests.
Nah, I don't want
Tone, get out of here.
Yeah, everybody leave.
You're done.
Everybody leave.
But Tone agrees with you. Episode 7 was bad.
Yeah, well, he can say that.
All right. That's
all right, though.
All right, before we do Spin in the Racks, then, we'll go real quick. Death Star Remix was another reason. Unnecessary characters that were introduced without any real purpose. That was a big one. This one says no epic space battles. It doesn't need...
It's Star Wars.
It's wars. First Order lacked intimidation. I didn't quite agree with that. I don't know what that's all about.
They were Empire Light. They were off-brand Empire.
New Republic felt weak.
Yeah. They all got blown up.
Plot was predictable.
Well,
that one
if you saw the first movie.
Destroyed the theme of family. Nah, not really. Insulting finale. Was it an insult? Was the finale insulting?
If you advertise it as someone's in the movie and he's in the last 5 minutes of the movie and then they roll the credits, you could be insulted. You might be insulted.
Yeah.
You were insulted? Was it a slap in the face?
Well, not just that. There's has anybody mentioned why on earth would the only Jedi left lose his lightsaber? I haven't heard anybody mention that at any point.
Which lightsaber? The blue one?
Yeah.
The blue one is his father's lightsaber.
Oh, the blue one is before.
Yeah.
It fell in Bespin. It's the one that fell down the shaft when Vader cut his hand off.
I was just explaining that.
But if it existed,
I don't know why we're screaming.
Patrick is fired up.
Yeah.
But Patrick's got the fire. But also his last day, and he can't do it every once.
But it was.
Found it somehow.
But it was
somehow.
obviously found.
Those are my problems.
Yeah.
So why?
Yeah, somehow. Everything is a somehow or in some way or I interpret in some... And that's what makes it bad. Every time you have to say, well, I think that this is how you could interpret this, then it's not a good story. because any story needs to explain itself.
So you can't allude to things.
You can build to things. You can say that certain things are a mystery. But for the most part, you have to explain the stuff that's in the film.
Gabe Firamasco says he didn't find the hand either.
Right, and what about the... I don't even know the name. You guys are better with names than I am. That little old lady that actually had the lightsaber.
Yeah.
Butthole eyes.
Yeah, she seemed very important and came out of nowhere, like without any explanation.
I do agree with that. Yes.
I don't get it. Like I was so confused.
But relying on the first three, the original first three, though, the fact that Han Solo had a relationship with her lends importance to her. I mean, there is that fact that you can sit there and say this person.
That's not logical because
why is that not logical?
Because that doesn't then everything in the prequels has validity because it lends itself to everything that's going to happen.
I don't disagree with that.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, that doesn't
there's validity to it.
But then that doesn't make it a viable plot point. Like you still have to say who this person is and why this person is disseminating information, and why she's in an authoritative position to be able to give this information out in the first place, or why we should be.
I don't disagree with that.
Let me phrase it another way, right? It's episode 7. It's not episode 10.
Right.
There's not going to be 3 more prequels to episode 7.
Sure.
So there shouldn't be all these gaps for us to wonder.
Okay.
Unless they plan to make 6.5.
Oh, they probably did. Well, that was Rogue. Well, actually, no, it wasn't. Rogue One was 3.5.
Right.
Patrick, what do you got?
Before Rogue One, anyway, there was a 19-year gap between the prequels. What exactly was Darth Vader up to? People weren't complaining then. He became Darth Vader, and then...
Well, at the end of it, you saw him become Darth Vader, and then they talked about him wiping out all the Jedi. Well, I mean, they mention it, that he was... And that they would spend that 20 years building the Death Star, and then, I mean, there is context for what went on in the middle.
I'll answer the question, because in that 19-year gap, whatever Vader did wasn't important to the other 3 films. It wasn't like a mystery of... oh, Vader did that, but now we're confused as to why or what exactly he did. It's just a gap. You don't know what he did, and it's not important going forward.
Right, but if you come back in episode 7 after 36 years and you don't understand why, if this guy was a general, why is he a smuggler again? If this woman was a princess, why is she a general all of a sudden? If the Republic is back, how come the Republic is not strong enough to get rid of the First Order? If the Empire was defeated, who was the First Order? And then you have all these...
Well, there is a 30-year gap in that story.
But when we come back, it doesn't even give us a summary, so we're just kind of lost as in, it's like you've been asleep for 30 years and you wake up and it's like it's up to you to catch up.
I will say that's 100%. You're 100% right. Did it impact my enjoying the movie though? Not at the time.
Nobody's arguing that though.
No,
guys,
it did to
like
me.
I said, it was subjective. It's a subjective thing. But if you're asking why it's not a good story, which has nothing to do with entertainment,
sure,
that's what we're talking about. Which is what I keep talking about. It is not a complete story. It is not a coherent story. It is not linearly a coherent narrative.
It is not linear.
Right.
I agree with
you. So if it and the others are.
Okay.
So it is a complete departure from the others, along with the fact that it gets the mythology wrong, along with the fact that it gets the hero's journey incorrect by Joseph Campbellian standards, which the other 6 movies are definitely based on and definitely 100%. Driven by. And so it is not unnatural for people to be a little jarred by by the drastic departure. Now, if what was suggested is real and that it is about a departure, it is about a re-understanding of the way things work, and that we don't need masters and we don't need to be told what to do, and and strong female characters and stuff like that. I'm all for that. I just say you gotta do a better job stating that.
You'll be fired from Fox News if you don't agree that all that. Yeah.
I wasn't hired by Fox, so that's okay.
No, but Mike, those things, those gaps did bother me, knowing that, like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, did I miss something? Should I have been watching Rebels?
Are there
or
50 books I should have read?
Right. Should I have been reading the comic book? Like, I'm not into Star Wars
and I paid
that much.
$20 to see this stupid thing. And I want my money's worth for a film that I just watched.
And even the little things, right? Like, why the hell is Han Solo's ship just sitting there and he's not in it? right? But at least he explained it, that he lost it or in the card game or something, right? But thank God he explained it. If he didn't explain that would fit with the rest of the terribleness of the movie.
Okay.
But at least they explained that little bit. But obviously, if he was so close to that planet that he got into that ship once it's up in the air, there was no point in time where he couldn't have come down and stole it himself. Like these are just some of the little things that made no sense.
I would sit there and say that, Hassan, for the first time, I see clearly exactly what you're talking about. From an actual linear storytelling purposes, the prequels do. They tell you linearly exactly how X, Y, and Z happens and influences A, B, and C down the road.
Because it's world building.
I can't disagree with you.
It's a world building, and it's if you're into the world, if you enjoy the world, then you will enjoy them. Okay, this is an expansion on what I already come to love, and that I appreciate it. Along with the fact of innovation, like that the article says, he didn't cheat to the Millennium Falcon in the prequels. He didn't cheat to other things to grab you nostalgically. He didn't give a darn about what you thought. He was like, look, this is what came before it, and this is what comes after. You like it, you like it. You don't like it, you don't like it.
Right.
So this other thing is doing all this effort to try to grab me to say, don't you remember when you were a kid and you loved it and stuff like that? And I'm like, yeah, but I also like understanding what the heck is going on, and I like linear storytellers, and I like characters that
from a linear storytelling angle, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, so
I think though from an execution standpoint, though, as a movie,
but that's subjective.
Those first three movies,
but that's subjective.
I don't think it is. I think
how can you say it's not?
I'm about to see how this works out. You talk, I talk, we talk. I would say you're using all these fundamental arguments, right, of good storytelling, like a hero's journey, and the Joseph Campbell reference, and this, all these things. But they apply to the prequels too. Everything applies. Everything you're arguing about with Episode 7 applies to Episode 1, 2, and 3.
And what are the similarities?
We talked about it backstage. Backstage green room, whatever you want to call it. I mean, we talked about it though. The heroes, the journey of Anakin to being Darth Vader was never fully sold. In the execution, it
wasn't sold to you. Just like if you disagree.
But you keep saying that as if I'm the lone person that's sitting there out there.
No, you're not the lone person.
You're missing the point. To me. You're asking me, why I didn't like this movie,
right?
And I say because of these things,
and all those things apply to the prequels. But you say you like the prequels.
I'm telling you they don't. I'm telling you I interpreted them differently,
right?
All right, so that there is no contradiction.
Yeah, but in that reality, then you're never wrong.
It's not a right or wrong thing. You asked me whether I liked it or not, and then you asked me why.
I agree with that.
So who's talking right or wrong?
But I think at the end of the day, you're making these arguments as to why a movie. You're by the simple claim you're saying Episode 7 was a terrible movie.
I thought Episode 7 was a terrible movie.
Was a terrible movie.
Yes,
but you're saying that prequels 1, 2, and 3 were good movies.
I said no.
That's where the disconnect happens.
The disconnect is you said that they were horribly atrocious movies.
Yeah, they are god awful.
They're not.
Well, that's an opinion.
They're not.
I like the
but then in the context of it,
Bitcoin's made up money. That's Bitcoin's an entire.
Well, that's fine. That's also an opinion.
All right. Before we get to running out of time, we're going to do what we do every week. We are going to go spinning the racks.
Spin the rack. Spin the rack.
Oh, we're so close to doing this. We're going to pull this off. It's going to happen.
Nope.
No, it played.
It played. I don't think it played, Rob.
No, it did. They just you can't hear it. They can't hear it.
No, they can hear it, but we can't hear it.
Yep.
All right. Well,
you're doing a good job of covering that up.
That was really
yeah, you do. Yeah.
Spinning the racks. We'll get this right.
We'll
next
get
week.
that one. That one's going to become a bite.
All right, real quick. We want to talk about casting news. Josh Brolin snags the role of Cable in Deadpool 2. Tone, what do you think? Yay or nay? Do you like Josh Brolin? Did you like Deadpool?
I thought Deadpool was okay.
Yeah, I thought
it was an enjoyable movie to watch. I didn't know Cable was in Deadpool 2. I haven't really read or seen anything on it. I also don't know that. Where would I know that actor from?
Josh Brolin. He was the older brother in Goonies. He's playing Thanos.
Anything like After I Was Born?
No Country for Old Men, Oscar-nominated movie.
I thought it was a terrible movie.
But he was the actor in it.
Which actor was it?
He was the one that not the killer, but the guy who stole the money.
Oh,
he was an American Gangster.
American Gangster.
He's playing Cable.
He was in Sin City 2. Yes.
I always thought Cable
was Jonah Hex.
He was Jonah Hex. He's been in like a ton of movies, dude. You have got to get out more. I think we need to see some more movies.
I always thought Cable was like, a bigger, muscular guy, not like some skinny redneck.
He had shoulder pads. It was all shoulder pads. That was the 90s. That's what Rob Liefeld did, so...
I think they could have had a budget for someone a little.
No, Josh
better.
Brolin's pretty. He's A-list, dude. He's A-list. I'm telling you.
He's
playing Thanos.
Don't know about that.
He is though. But I don't mind it. I would have, like, we already talked about this. I would have preferred Stephen Lang from Avatar. Also from a number of other things. I could definitely
see that.
Yeah, and I think he would, and he lobbied very hard for that role. He wanted the role really badly.
Yeah, that would have been pretty good.
See, and you know who he is. I know who he is. The whole thing would have worked at that point.
Well, he's a big Avatar fan. That's kind of.
I thought that was a good movie.
You know, the funny thing too, a lot of people were wondering how Josh Brolin got it, because he is going to be Thanos in the upcoming Avengers, and I don't think people realize that he can be in more than one movie. It's okay.
Yeah,
he's going to be big in purple in that one anyway.
Yeah,
so.
but they're talking about... Well, yeah, and it's also two different studios, so it's not a conflict of interest.
It's never a conflict of interest. All right, when we come back next week, we're going to definitely... we're going to have more fun. We're not going to talk Star Wars. We're going to impose a Star Wars moratorium going forward. We're actually going to welcome Newsaramas.
Star Wars was the problem.
Yeah, we're going to
that's what went wrong.
This was our highest rated show. We're going to welcome Newsaramas Chris Arant. He's going to help preview the summer movie season, which is, believe it or not, on its way in a couple short weeks. It's been Secrets of the Sire. Up next,
It Came from the Radio.
Thank you, guys.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Hello, I'm JC.
I'm Joan. And welcome to 21st Century Entrepreneur.
We bring education,
insight,
knowledge,
awareness,
trouble,
craziness, and fun
for you, the entrepreneur who's looking to build your business
and your community. Listen every Friday from noon to 1 Eastern on talkradio.nyc. And you can tweet us at 21st CE Radio or Talk Alternative.
Hey, all you crazy listeners. Looking to boost your business? Why not advertise on Talking Alternative with very reasonable rates? Interested? Simply email at info@talkingalternative.com.
Are you into comics, movies, and pop culture at large? What about music and TV? Then you're in for a treat. This is Michael Dolce, your host on talkingalternative.com. I've been professionally writing comic books, screenplays, and music articles for almost 15 years. Catch my show, Secrets of the Sire, at its new primetime slot, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and get the inside scoop on the pop culture universe you love to talk about. For more info, go to secretsofthesire.com.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network at www.talkingalternative.com. Now, broadcasting 24 hours a day. Talking Alternative.
Hi, this is Rob Kay.
And I'm Callie Alpert.
And we're hosts of The Rob and Callie Show. Are you looking for a show that talks about real stuff like life, love, the pursuit of being yourself?
Then you have come to the right place, because we cover topics ranging from chivalry to gratitude to your relationship with money and everything in between.
So listen to us on The Rob and Callie Show, Tuesdays, 8 to 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.